G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. We're about to have a comedy called Irrational Fears.
Strong, coarse language and traces of nuts. Radio National recommends listening by a mature audience.
Kanye West had his first baby, but it was pretty much just a copy of the better baby Jay-Z had a year ago. And Melissa Doyle from Channel 7 Sunrise program leaves the show to do something more challenging, actually watching the Sunrise program. And Rupert Murdoch files for divorce, coincidentally just in time for the casting of Channel 10's The Bachelor. And we interview three-time world burlesque queen Imogen Kelly. And despite the limitations of radio, you bet it'll be revealing. That's tonight on Irrational Fear! Excellent. Hi, I'm your host, Dan Ellick, and this is Irrational Fear, the show that's probably better off hosted by Bob Hawke. Let's face it, he'd do a better job of most things, wouldn't he? Later on, I'll be meandering through the mountain of misogyny that was this week in news. But before that, please welcome our fearmongers for tonight. Lewis Hobber, Clive Palmer's laptop went missing. What happened next?
Well, nothing yet, Dan, and that's why I think we need to be worried, because there's nothing more dangerous than a Palmer in wait.
Heath Franklin, do bigots need new slogans?
Yes, that's why I've started my new Slogans for Bogans initiative. You can find some literature on a public bus.
David Bluestein, what can we expect from our priests on Sunday?
There's more to the Super Jesus than Sarah McLeod.
Okay, very good. Chris Taylor, when will we stop talking about the Labour leadership?
Well, not tonight. I've got nothing else to talk about but the Labour leadership. Even if you'd asked me about priests or bumper stickers, I still would have only spoken about the Labour leadership.
And Nina Oyama, did Nigella Lawson have it coming?
Well, I don't think so, but the choking, it really left a bad taste in my mouth.
Declaring mission accomplished against Iraq way before the Socceroos.
Your fear is rational.
But first, what a week to be a man. Hey guys, we've done it. We have successfully shown ourselves to be the unfairer sex. All over your face, women. Yeah! And it feels so bad. Now, if you were unwittingly born with two X chromosomes, then give yourselves a congratulatory pat on the head, but not in a patronising way. I just want to make sure that's absolutely clear. Because well done, because we have all survived the Misogyalypse 2013. Yes. Lips. This week was 7 days of women bashing from start to finish. Unfortunately, not just figuratively. If you weren't in the country or you were too busy with your head in the pillow crying at the state of national discourse, then here is a little recap of the 7 days of misogyny too awful to miss, courtesy of Craig David.
What?
Read an offensive menu on a Monday. Got told to shut up on public on a Tuesday. Denigrated by the army on Wednesday. Watched the footy show on TV on Thursday. Howard Sadler disrespected on Friday. The Piers Ackerman Saturday and Sunday. Footballers charged for rape on a Monday. Nigella Lawson choked on Tuesday. And so on and so on. Okay, a week
misogyny.
a week of misogyny is kind of putting it lightly. It was more like an extended festival of misogyny. So, how did Misogyapalooza come about? I hear asking. Well, no one knows. It's a bit of a mystery. Some media pundits believe that men were provoked by Julia's blue tie jibe. When will you women learn? Never make fun of our cravats. And look, my brain exploded this week. I want to believe that this kind of stuff doesn't happen, or at least in my crazy dream world, it's not as concentrated. You know, marginalisation of women should happen over decades, not days. It's crazy. I think the most obvious explanation is that this is The Purge, not too dissimilar to the feature film of the same name. This week, anyone could be as sexist as you like and get away with it, but not if you're a member of the Defence Force. In fact, the only reprieve from Misogyapalooza was the astonishing performance by Lieutenant General David Morrison in a video addressing the denigrating actions of a group of male soldiers who call themselves the Jedi Council, because that's probably the only way they can get some, by using the Force.
Those who think that it is okay to behave in a way that demeans or exploits their colleagues have no place in this army. If that does not suit you, then get out. You may find another employer where your attitude and behaviour is acceptable, but I doubt it.
Okay, so David Morrison clearly hasn't heard of 2GB, the NRL, or the Navy. Really. The sad truth is that there are still massive gaps when it comes to gender equality in Australia. Now, Nina Oyama, as the only woman on this panel, what are some of the major problems in equality that women are facing day to day?
Well, there's just a
One
lot
of the
of
problems,
pressure.
Dan, is that women is for women later in life, you know? I mean, older women could be spending their final years in poverty. Currently, the average superannuation payout for women is a third of the payout for men.
Oh, that's really interesting, Nina. In relation, is that kind of like in relation to the earning power of women in general in Australia?
Oh, definitely.
Well, I think you'll find that while the gap is narrowing, it is still shockingly wide, Dan. On average, women earn 16% less than men.
16% is quite a divide. Now, what about the marginalisation of women's voices in media? Well, where do you see yourself on that spectrum, Nina?
Well, look, as a female
That's
comedian...
a funny thing, Dan. The representation of women in the media isn't a problem. They make up 55% of the journalists in Australia.
However, it should be noted that women in media rarely reach senior levels of management in media jobs, and when they do, they get paid far less.
Good point, Nina.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks, Nina. I think it's really good that we're having this conversation, but I feel like we've still got some way to go. Do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I
Didn't
actually...
think so. Right. When Jay-Z had his baby daughter, he came out and said, "I'm never going to use the word bitch in my lyrics again." Because marrying Beyonce wasn't a good enough excuse. By comparison, his best friend Kanye West this week leaked his baby daughter and also gave birth to a mistake. He released his album, Yeezus. And the lyrics are less than gentlemanly, as explored by Sarah Kanowski of Poetica, the Radio National poetry show.
You're with Sarah Kanowski for Poetica on RN. Tonight we explore the dark, mysterious and often maligned brain of poet and self-proclaimed deity, Kanye West. His latest offering, Yeezus, has been labelled misogynistic. Here's a sample and you can decide for yourself. New slaves. They trying to lock niggers up. They trying to make new state. See, that's that privately owned prison. Get your piece today. They probably all in the Hamptons, bragging about what they made. Fuck you and your Hampton house. I'll fuck your Hampton spouse. Come on her Hampton blouse and in her Hampton mouth. It's hard to know exactly what he means here. The ambiguity in his work is baffling. But many people believe that it's something about hating on bitches.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lewis Homer!
Thank you very much. I want to talk to you a little bit about Clive Palmer. Clive Palmer wants to be Prime Minister. That's not necessarily funny, but I've checked it, and technically it is a joke. Clive Palmer is the living embodiment of the phrase, everything's bigger in Queensland. Oh, I mean his character. Don't be like that. But the really big story here is that Clive Palmer... Oh, we got there. Well done. It was a fat joke.
Because we didn't see that coming in the Clive Palmer piece.
I thought I'd get it out of the way early. The really big story this week is that Clive Palmer says he was hacked. Yes, hacked. Although it turns out that Clive Palmer's idea of hacking actually means someone broke in and stole his laptop. That's hacking old school. And the security breaches didn't end there. Faxes he'd been sending to his lawyers were also copied to a secret fax number. A secret fax number. I wonder if they were secretly being sent to 1991 when the last fax machine was used. Yes, Clive's secret plans were hacked. And of course, Clive was disappointed. But his response to the theft was, unfortunately, this kind of thing is the price you pay for living in a democracy. What do you reckon Clive thinks living in a democracy means? Because if he wants to be PM, it's not great that his understanding of a democracy is a place where your shit gets stolen. He's confusing democracy with anarchy. What are your policies, Clive? Well, I'm for democracy, so I hope to disrupt the hierarchical system of governance, point my middle finger to the flag, and burn the corrupt halls of power to the ground. Vote Palmer! But the really disturbing thing about the hacking is that Clive has secret information that he's concerned about the public hearing. This is a man who is very open about a wide variety of insane plans. if Clive Palmer is relaxed about telling you that he wants to build Titanic 2, can you even begin the kind of mental ideas he doesn't think you're ready to hear? Hindenburg 2? A second Black Plague? Another series of celebrity splash? To understand how afraid we need to be of Clive's secrets, we need to have a look at the stuff he's totally happy to say out loud. Two of his projects outside of politics are building a kind of Jurassic Park and, as I mentioned, relaunching the Titanic. When most people watch Titanic or Jurassic Park, they recognise them as films about hubris and the dangers of megalomaniacal men going too far. Not Clive. Rather than see the obvious similarities, Clive watches movies where everyone dies at the end and thinks, how can I recreate that terrific success? I have a lot of money. I want to invest it in a range of humorous disasters. Last week, Clive said he couldn't be corrupted because he was already too rich. Yeah. I think we can look to incorruptible billionaire rulers like Silvio Berlusconi and breathe a sigh of relief. Clive's political party was called Australia United Party, which made sense because he wanted to bring Australia together. But now it's changed to Palmer United Party, suggesting the goal of the party is to bring together all the individual pieces of Clive Palmer. Can you imagine if the Clive Palmer we see before us is in fact just one piece of the larger Clive Palmer? And when all the Palmers assemble, it will form some sort of super Palmer. It'd take 3 regular-sized Palmers just to make up the super Palmer's chin. Yeah, fat joke, well done. Well earning. The last United anything that Clive ran was the Gold Coast United soccer team, which went under in 2012. Paired with the Titanic, Clive does seem to have a thing for stuff that goes under. In fact, Clive has even endorsed an old Gold Coast United goalkeeper for the Senate, and he's promised to have even more high-profile candidates in the future. Even more high-profile than the goalkeeper of a bankrupt Gold Coast soccer team that played in a league that doesn't exist anymore? But how? Clive's idea of celebrity is as exciting as the people who pick contestants on Celebrity Apprentice. It won't even be like watching Where Are They Now? It'll be like watching Who the Fuck Were They Ever? So what else do we know about Clive? He invests heavily in nickel. Nickel, of course, can be used for a variety of things. Making stainless steel, if you add it to glass, it makes it go green. But it's also used to make coins. Clive Palmer is digging up his own money, right out of the ground. All this time we were looking for a money tree. Turns out money grows more like a potato. So with all of that money and open craziness behind him, can you honestly take a second to imagine what the hell Clive Palmer is afraid might reach the public eye from his secret hacked computer? There's the chance that it's the craziest thing of all, not mind control or a nuclear holocaust, but sensible policy. Because some people say we shouldn't be too hard on Clive. After all, he was made a national living treasure in 2012. But before you get too carried away with the national treasure idea, that honour also belongs to Gay Waterhouse, breeder of horses and gambling enablers, as well as Rolf Harris. So it's not perfect. But as Clive Palmer's party saying goes, together we can achieve the extraordinary. And with national politics as it is right now, mediocrity would do. And I think it's good to set the bar low, because it's probably been a while since Clive's jumped over anything. So Clive Palmer is renowned for making big announcements. What's going to be his next big announcement, Heath? What do you reckon?
I think he's going to reveal his next big celebrity is Kitty from Progressive Car Insurance ads. You know, the ones who... She's sort of top-level celebrity you'd be going for.
I actually suspect he's only called Palmer because he secretly loves being covered in cheese and ham.
I also think that maybe he's getting Kitty from Progressive Car Insurance ads because she makes cake appear in people's pockets.
Am I the only one who has no idea what he's talking about? It's because you don't watch television. No, that's true.
Can you download these ads?
Chris, what do you think?
Look, I think Lewis is right. He's obviously got a real fetish for disasters. So I think next on the menu for Clive will be rebuilding a replica of that Ferris wheel in Melbourne. And I don't mean the Ferris wheel when it was briefly working for those 2 days. I mean just a replica of the shit fucked up one, side by side. So Melbourne's now got two completely useless things that everyone looks baffled by en route to the airport.
You could expand it and just include the Docklands, which is equally as disastrous.
Maybe it'll be like a natural disaster, like just create an earthquake. Maybe by jumping, actually.
He's also talking about doing the Apollo 13 experience as well as the Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid experience, which I'm pretty sure they both ended okay.
Well, we asked the audience what secrets are hidden on Clive Palmer's laptop, and we've got a few here. I like this one. A receipt for a Prius is on Clive Palmer's laptop. Oh, do you know, while we're on the Prius, do you know sometimes he goes around calling himself Professor? No, he does. He calls himself Professor. He was a defunct. He was given like an honorary professorship from Bond University. They've since taken it away. But he's also a professor in sustainability.
And he couldn't even sustain the title honorary professor.
I think his idea of sustainability is eating on the toilet, though. Isn't it?
It's the cycle of life.
Irrational fear, finishing when Parliament does and just as popular.
It's not rocket science.
Ladies and gentlemen, Heath Franklin! Or should that be Professor Heath Franklin?
G'day, how's it going? Yeah! Is everyone enjoying themselves? Yeah! All right, I'm going to see if I can turn this into a sharp U-turn then. This is a little something I wrote called Honk If Your Descent is Born of a Desire for Something Better. Basically, I want to talk to you guys about a bumper sticker that I saw a while ago that I still haven't been able to reconcile with myself emotionally. And it's come off to sort of dominate my conscience to agree somewhere between fanatical and diagnosable. It's turned into this kind of long argument that I have in my head over and over again with a completely imaginary racist. So, anyway. Now, as a general rule, I have a keen mistrust for anything that is expressed through the medium of the bumper sticker. Magic happens seems like a very naive thing to have written on a vehicle with a combustion engine. If you fill your petrol tank with the crude karma and unicorn tears, then tell me magic happens. I hunt and I vote. Amazing. What an amazing life balance you've achieved between your hobby and your occasional compulsory involvement in Australia's democratic processes. You're like some sort of sometimes hunting, sometimes voting, multitasking, super scheduling machine. You hunt and you vote. Well, I like pina coladas and doing my fucking BAS.
Okay, we've got to stop part 1 and I will immediately restart on part 2. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Irrational fear. Ciao.